Sorry, that was Biscuit the dog. My bad.
Good evening and welcome to the Bedminster Township Committee meeting. This is our regularly scheduled meeting for April 15, 2024, tax day. Recognize that we have a full attendance by the Bedminster Township Committee attending here in person. Committeeman Hickey, Committeewoman Moreski, and attending via Zoom, Committeewoman Hernandez and Committeeman Stevenson. Ms. Ray, may we please have the Open Public Meetings Act statement?
Yes, Mayor. Adequate notice of this meeting of the Township Committee was sent to the Courier News Somerville, Bernardsville News Whippany, and to all subscribers and posted at the Township Municipal Building on January 5th, 2024.
Great. Thank you. And please join me in standing for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Quickly go to public comments. Any member of the public wishing to make a comment, please raise your hand and we'll bring you up to the microphone up here. Person that's half a hand raised.
No.
Okay.
No commentary. No, sir. Just my relax.
And Robin, do we have anyone on Zoom?
No one other than Township Committee members.
Okay, so we will go past public comments. And we do have some special guests here tonight. We have Chief and Deputy Chief and the President from the Far Hills Bedminster Fire Department. And we also have our OEM coordinator, Chris Crowell, here as well. On April 5, on Friday, there was a fire up on Encampment Drive up in the hills. And it nearly knocked out an entire building and displaced 10? Is it 10 units that got displaced?
5 minutes, but it's 10 total were affected.
10 were affected, but only 5 completely displaced. During that event and the hours that followed, I was on the phone with Chief Bernardo, trading some messages with folks from Far Hills Bedminster Fire Department, and I went up to the property on Sunday. I spoke to some of the neighbors up there, and they all gave glowing remarks about the speed with which Far Hills Bedminster responded to the event, how professional the whole organization went, not just with Far Hills, but also the coordination with all the mutual aid who responded. And remarkable at the devastation in the center of that building. And then I spoke to one of the residents who was not displaced. She said, yeah, a little bit of little faint whiff of smoke, but that was it. That was it. And while I was out there, a number of people just kept walking by and once again talking about response. And so what I'd like to do is like to bring up Chief Brienza just to talk about the event, and Deputy Chief Grundyke, if you want to come up as well, and just walk us through the situation and just to give a description of your thoughts as to how the events proceeded. I mean, once again, I got to say, I was shocked that the buildings are close together. Encampment is narrow. You have cars parked along Encampment, and just looking at that site 2 days after, and I'm going, how did they even get the vehicles in there, plus all the mutual aid vehicles that responded? It must have just been a bear of a project or a bear of a firefighting situation. And really, I think it'd be great for the Bedminster Township Committee to hear from you guys directly on the response. So Chief, turn it to you.
Sure, thank you. Just pulling up This little presentation we got here. Cool. All right. So this is a snippet of our after action debrief that we did for actually, make sure this is the wrong window. I don't want to share anything. It's the wrong window. 1 second, I just chopped this down. There's the right one. So this is a short summary based off our after action report that we went through on Tuesday of last week with all of our mutual aid partners. This gives a brief summary of the fire, what went on, what we found when we got there, and what we did to stop it. So timeline for this fire, initial dispatch was at 16:24, so just before 4:30 in the afternoon. We were quickly upgraded to a structure fire from originally what came over as a patio fire. There was reports of multiple people still in their residences. As soon as I got that report, I hit out our first alarm box for 2901 Alpha, which is our AM box in that part of the town. And patrol got on location 4 minutes later. They said there was a lot of fire. When I got onto 202, 206 from Lamington Road, I saw a column on the side of the hill of a lot of smoke. Jason was the first arriving. I pulled up 20, 30 seconds later. We had smoke and fire showing from the Charlie side. And then, as you can see, within 4 minutes of us getting on location and within 2 minutes of our first due fire engine getting on location, there was water on the fire. So really, kudos to that first due engine crew. They did an excellent job of getting quick water onto the fire and
So it's
putting it
about
out.
10 minutes from dispatch to getting water up there?
Yeah, that's correct.
That's great. Jesus.
So,
That's great.
and you know what that drive is like. And if you took a ride up there, you know how bad those speed bumps that they put in are.
Do you guys have trouble with those speed bumps?
Yes,
Should
absolutely.
they not be there?
Yeah, that's a conversation for a different day, but those speed bumps are certainly not good speed bumps.
Okay,
So there was smoke showing from the Charlie side, and then we got water on the fire. About 15 minutes into the call, I filled our second alarm just to put them in quarters and have them coming just because of the size of the building and the volume of fire that we had on arrival. The rest of this is not really relevant to this conversation, but this is where the structure was on the backside of encampment. So basically at the corner of Sussex and encampment down that backside off of Smoke Rise, the units that were affected were, worst case scenario units in the middle, both top and bottom units in the dead center of the backside of the building were well involved with fire on our arrival. This was what it looked like from where the command post was. So you can see that row, as you guys know, the 10 units that are throughout, garages on the front, access on the sides and the back. Our first due fire engine was staged right at that corner, which was the Alpha Delta corner of the fire. We had the main body of fire there in the middle. You can see it there. 2 hose lines off of our first due fire engine, which was engine 291. We had a ladder truck set up, which was truck 29, which was fed by squad 40. Squad 40 also had another line that was around the backside of the building, putting out fire as well. In addition to a line that went interior through the garages in the front. So these are 2 pictures. The first one shows what we saw when we first arrived. That photo was taken on arrival, so before there was any water on the fire. You can see that there's multiple levels of the units involved, as well as the porches and the patios. This is as soon as water was put on the fire. So that was that first push. The fire has made its way up into the attic area, which is technically the 3rd story of the building, as part of those buildings have a loft area. It had pushed all through there. That whole deck was inaccessible for the most part. And then there was fire throughout the 1st floor and 2nd floor units. These are some other pictures of the scene, but that was where the command post was. And then this is some firefighters working on the Alpha side roof. This is some exterior visual of the damage after the fire was out. So you can see the damage was extensive. It affected both the structure as well as the contents of the building. it was, you know, it was a really an incredible stop from our standpoint. We were able to put the fire out in a timely manner and make a serious push on a fire that otherwise would have taken that whole building out. Normally speaking, those buildings that are stacked like that with those middle units, that's the toughest fires we fight in this town for the most part, other than our rural water supply issues. And so those fires, it's key to get water on the fire fast and to have, you know, people that know the well trained and know what they're doing and they can make a push on it. It was a great save. And like you guys heard, there's still 5 people staying in their houses tonight because of it. So it was huge help from all of our mutual aid partners, which I won't list off because I'll end up forgetting someone, but they're listed on our Facebook and the kudos to them as well. So.
Chief, you said, were there 10 mutual aid units responded? Was that
There were 7 companies total on scene, and then there was, I believe, with both alarms, there was a total of 12.
Great, great. And I guess it's up to you to manage all the chaos with getting all that support coming in. It's got to be organized.
Yeah, with the help of others. You know, Jason had operations of one side, the fire side of the building, so he did a great job organizing all the manpower on that side. And then we also have Somerset County mutual aid coordinators that come in and help coordinate some of the mutual aid that's coming in so that it's easier to run the scene.
Well, I'm sure all the TC members will want to say something, but I just want to say that on behalf of the Township Committee and Bedminster Township, we thank you guys for your work. We always remember that all of our Hills Bedminster are volunteers, and you put a hell of a lot of time into training and being ready and requesting the appropriate apparatus from the Township Committee to support you guys. And just, you know, kudos to all of you, and especially to you, Chief, and Deputy Chief Grundyke. And thank you.
Sure. Thank you.
No, and I know Chief Bernardo also heard reports, and he just said that you guys, the 2 of you, were doing a great job of responding and keeping everything under control. So thank you, and thank you, Chief, for those updates. Any questions for Chief Franza, Deputy Chief Grundyke?
I guess my only question would be, first off, thank you. Jake, as you're writing your article, please underline volunteer, because I think a lot of people still in this town don't realize you guys are volunteers. You've got day jobs, and it's amazing. But I mean, was that typical, by the way, in terms of how quickly that building was engulfed when you got there?
Yeah, generally speaking, those are most of the units in the hills are considered lightweight construction, which is mainly glue and wood that's put together. So you have vinyl siding, you have a lot of things that burn very quickly and can go up like that.
So once again, an amazing save. And I think Mayor, a woman pointed out to you, I think, when you were up there, had the fire proceeded down that hill filled with leaves and trees and fallen logs, life gets even worse. So an amazing save in 2 respects. I guess just to dovetail with Renee's question, is there anything else we should know? So the speed bumps are one thing that is inhibiting your ability to respond to fire. Is there anything else the HOA should be doing, we should be doing, things to think about based on lessons learned out of this fire?
No, just continuing to support us and continuing to make sure that we're getting all the apparatus and equipment we need. You know, you guys have been champions of the fire department for a while, and this committee in particular has supported us. And so we appreciate that, but it's getting people out. We can staff manpower. We can do all of those things on that side. It's just continuing to buy, you know, this very expensive equipment and making sure that we have the best stuff so that we can keep being, you know, what I consider the best around. So,
well, thank you again for your time, your dedication. I got to attend one of your training sessions about a month ago. It's amazing the amount of time that you guys have invested in this, and it's an exceptional job. Your training pays off, obviously. So thank you.
Thank you.
Obviously, thank you. As everybody's been saying, I happen to live in a building just like that, so I feel a whole lot safer knowing it took you, 10 minutes to put that fire out? Just want to comment, if anybody else from the Hills is listening, that we had taken the speed bumps off of Hills Drive just for that reason, and we weren't able to put them back on, even though that does slow down the traffic, which is nice, but we want to make sure you guys can get to us. And I was just gonna ask, like Colin did, is there anything else that we can be doing as the HOA or homeowners? I know I'm in an A unit, so I'm in the corner. I have the cement steps, so those won't go up as fast. I know we've been putting wood up the center ones because they have access from the other side. I don't know if there's rules about fire retardants or stuff that goes on that, but I'm sure there are things that we probably could be doing for you guys that would be helpful. And if you have any suggestions, I'd be happy to pass them along.
Sure. Yeah, no, generally speaking, everything is run well with the town. You know, Steve Dill does a great job doing fire inspections, making sure that the buildings are what they should be. Unfortunately, in those buildings, they do go up quickly just because of how they're built, and it's we do what we can to put it out. But there's not much you can do to change that type of construction. So, and you know, the speed bumps is really not an issue for us in most cases. Just for some reason, the way those are built in encampment, they're not built correctly. So they're very steep up, very steep down, with no egress. So you have to go, well, either destroy your vehicle going over it, or you have to go, you know, 2 or 3 miles an hour. I'm not sure if you've driven over them, but they're,
Oh, yeah,
yeah,
they're horrible.
yeah.
They wrecked my old car. Yeah, but we don't have them on Hills Drive just for that reason.
Was there the construction of those units based on their age, did they have the appropriate fire breaks that you would see in today's construction?
Yeah, generally speaking, what we saw with the one fire break that stopped the spread between 2 of the units was, you know, completely up to code. It was functional. It was all good. It probably is what stopped majority of the fire.
Right.
Coming around the outside, what we'll always get in those units is as the siding burns, it'll loop around the outside and then expose it from that direction as opposed to coming through the inside, because those are internal fire breaks, not external. So the fire always tends to make its way around the outside and up into the soffit in the attic of the next
Yeah, I
building.
could see that where you
Yeah.
guys got to the soffits in the front and
Right.
there's some damage there and soffits along the sides as well. But so the fire breaks work, and this
Yep.
is also something you know, that I think it's important that our residents hear is that these fire breaks do work, and when they're not there, you probably have lost the entire building at all.
Yeah.
Doug, Gina, any questions or comments for Chief Brienza, Deputy Chief Grundyke?
Yeah, thanks. Oh, go ahead, Gina.
No, I just want to thank you guys again. Like, you are really heroes to so many people. So it's just like amazing how well you do your job, and we really, really appreciate you. That's all.
Thank you, Gina.
Yeah, and a couple things. One is I'm sorry I'm not there in person. I certainly would love to you know, convey these messages to you face to face, but preliminarily, certainly my thoughts and prayers go out to the residents that lost belongings and that are temporarily displaced. You know, they're certainly on our minds, but for here and for now, too many times, you know, we throw the word awesome around, and this is awesome, that's awesome, but you know, what's the definition of awesome? It's awe-inspiring. As I see the recap here, and you see what you're dealing with, and the just the ferocious nature of the blaze, you can tell the heat just by looking at the picture. And then to see how you guys did this on a timeline, and to get a true understanding of what you're up against and the volunteer aspect of it, you know, I'm truly inspired. I'm put back here, and I'm sort of at a loss of words because you know, as Gina says, you guys are heroes. It's all well and good to say I want to be in the fire department until somebody tells you that you got to go actually extinguish a fire that's freaking like this, and then it's game on. And then the way you tackled it, the way you handled it, I even tie it back to like budget discussions and the ladder truck, right? And the use of the ladder truck and how integral that was for this particular fire, and how you talk about how this is the most challenging type of fire that you deal with. It puts it all in perspective to me, and it really brings it home. And I just can't be more thankful to you, your team, the first responder, the mutual aid responders, for looking out after everybody here. And, you know, Chief, you know, we go back some ways to watching little kids run around, play basketball, right? And to see you elevate to this position and leading us in this most essential service, I have so much admiration for you individually. I just thank you so much. Really impressive, your whole team, and it's not often that I'm kind of left for a loss for words, but when I see this all happening, and what you did and what you saved and everything that happened and what could have happened, I'm just so thankful. So thank you so much from everybody.
Thank you, Doug.
So once again, thank you guys for everything you did. What a great response. And really, you know, we'll get to the displacement, and we'll bring OEM coordinator Chris Crowell up next to talk about what happens immediately after the fire. And Chris, you've got some updates and some good stories of coordination with the building management and their response team.
Yep.
So Chris, will turn it over to you.
So just to start off, you saw the pictures of the unit, the fire. Just kudos to the chiefs, Brienza and Grondike, because the way they ran that operation to save half those units, 5 families were able to return back. Is when you see those pictures, it's unheard of. And that was the part of my role and job and for this incident is knowing that 5 went back in to their homes. So that was always, that's a great sign.
And for the record, Chris is not only our OEM coordinator, but he's also a firefighter with Far Hills Bedminster Fire Department as well.
So I got on the scene shortly after 6:30. So about that time, they were in what's called overhaul. So the fire was out. All the residents were, gathered and most of them, except for 2, had already made arrangements to find a place to stay with either friends or family. So I helped coordinate with the last 2 that were there to find a place to stay for that night, and then reached out to our Red Cross contacts over the weekend to start that process. So they opened up a ticket. We originally were coordinating myself, the Wilkins management group, our shelter coordinator, also Robin, trying to figure out best way to get messaging out to them on what resources were available since they were all spread out. So we were able to make contact with everybody, or at least reach out. And then the Red Cross doubled their efforts and dialed them directly for the next 3 days until they got hold of everybody. By that time, most of the 5 displaced have already made arrangements with their insurance companies. So they ultimately declined the services of Red Cross, but the Red Cross did offer that, if there's anything you need in the interim, please reach back out. So they were pretty helpful there. So at this point, that part of the incident will be closing this Friday, I believe. There's just usually a 2-week window when a case is open that residents can reach out for assistance. And then by that time, the insurance companies have already jumped in. So they're working with their reps there. But given the structure, the damage, the management company will obviously take it from there, advising the residents of what their options are long-term.
And so just another little fill in the gap is, so during a structure fire like this, where residents are involved, Vinny Tamburi from construction, he's the one who makes the decision whether or not the remaining units are habitable.
Yeah.
And Vinny was, I think it was Chief, you were giving me updates when Vinny got there, right? So he was up there that evening.
Yes. Yeah, he arrived, about 25 minutes after I did. So, and he went right to work, assessing the units, with Steve Dill, went through, and then he gave the okay to flip the switch for 5 to have the power turn back on and they could go back in that night.
Right. And I think that's also important. I know I was also trading messages with Ron Kennedy, president of Far Hills Bedminster Fire as well. And that was sort of to get those folks back in. It was critical that their utilities were there, that water, they have gas or electric, that they were serviced separately, not through the same line as everything else. So the fact that they still had utilities meant that those structures could be habited that night. Mm-hmm. So that is, once again, just just what a great team effort of getting everyone out there, including folks who are able to return there. So thanks again to Steve and Vinny from Bedminster staff. So after effects. So who's in control of the restoration at this point? That's Wilkin?
Yep. So the Wilkin Group is.
And they're working for the HOA insurance company?
So that part I'm not too familiar with, and I know there's a master and then you have your homeowners. So I don't know what the order of operations is on that part, but Gary was very helpful. Gary Wilkin, who was on the scene, he met with each resident explained everything to them that, you know, they'll be holding their hands and being in touch with them daily to help them through the process, so.
And Brina, you've had contact with the condo association and with Wilkin as well?
With Will, yeah.
Okay. Can you have any update from Wilkin?
Just what Chris said, that Andrea was talking to the individual residents. Someone was setting up some GoFundMe information. And that we tried to get some floor plans and structure plans to them, but they were not available, as they are probably not with most of our neighborhoods. But I was able to send a couple floor plans, which gave them kind of an idea to help with deciding what needs to be destroyed and what can be reconstructed. And their construction guy said, don't worry about it. We hit this, you know, we get these things all the time, so they'll take it from there.
Okay.
So that was all the help that I could provide for them. But it sounded like they knew what they were doing.
Okay, and once again, you said it was Wilkin Management has actually established the GoFundMe
Yes,
accounts.
they,
And that's-
they took care of that.
And that's for the residents who were displaced.
Correct.
Once again, open questions, comments from Township Committee, Committeeman Hickey?
Now, just Chris, thank you. As Mayor mentioned, you're a firefighter, but you also have this other day job, and thank you for the tremendous coordination. I'm sure I know the families because some of them reached out and recognized that. So thank you for all you do.
Thank you for me as well. The personal touch that we provide in this town is amazing. As Doug said, you know, we use big fancy words, but just thank you so much. And I'm sure they all appreciate it a lot.
Doug?
Yep, Chris, in particular, you're like the perfect guy for this position because your approach and your way to interact with the public is spot on. Empathy, competence, professionalism, it's all there. And again, thank you for what you do. And to some degree, you have the longer, more laborious job of trying to put Humpty Dumpty back together here as best we can. And it's a true community effort, but someone has to lead. And thank you for taking the spear and carrying it. You're doing a phenomenal job. You are a great steward of Bedminster. So thank you for what you're doing.
Thanks. Gina, any
Same-
comments?
Same, Chris. I just want to say, thank you for, when it really counts, you're there. And that means a lot to everyone. And you're a great leader in our community. And I just, genuinely just want to thank you for all you do.
Thank you.
We'll let you guys go on with the rest of your night. There's no alarms going off, so you're all go home and relax. And once again, on behalf of Bedminster Township Committee, thank you for everything you guys do.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The water supply,
Thank you all.
it's just the water supply, Paul Bellas, we pick on him all the time, but that water supply makes a difference up there too. The condominiums in the hills or the whole hills development, that was well thought out 35 years ago. Sidewalks weren't, we know that. Okay, speed bumps weren't. There was no residential site improvement standards back then. You did your own ordinances back then. You made some mistakes in some of those neighborhoods with all that was built. But the one thing that's good up there and in the lower part of the hills is water. And the water supply makes a difference up there. So we used a fair amount. And we tied in, the hydrants are only 300 foot apart from each other, everywhere in there. So hydrants were really easy to get to. And it still goes back to when you plan things out, of all you that have sat on planning boards for a long time, is that really works up in the hills. So our water supply, Paul did do a lot of work in making that happen. So, but the water supply in the hills is really well done. And that makes a difference, knowing confidence too, that if that fire got bigger, that we have a fair amount of water to fight fires that get bigger in that complex. Other condominiums in other parts of this county do not. And you struggle with that, where you go in and you go to fight a fire and you only have X number of gallons of water and then it becomes a problem. The hills is quite well done.
Were the hydrants in good shape? Because there are a couple I've seen walking around my neighborhood that they don't look so great, but they're big cast iron things. They might be fine. They just look
Yeah,
terrible to me.
I'm gonna ask you, not all. That we found them in the past, we had a car fires probably a couple of years ago, it could be 10 years ago, where we couldn't find the hydrant on our map that says there's where the hydrant is. and the bush is already grown around it. So to get to that hydrant, we had to take chainsaws and cut the shrubs out to get to the hydrant. The other hydrants we've had, I think it was in Village Green.
Village.
We had one of the hydrants of the 6 we tied into, that was winter time too, we couldn't get that one over. But then there's a hydrant for.
Yeah, remember, we actually had that discussion with the Village Green fire, is that was, I forget if it was in a snowbank or
Yeah,
someone
yeah.
plowed into, or just piled up snow, and it was
So
it was problematic for you guys.
when you talk about things that can be done with the host associations, two things are, trees are a big problem for us, okay, but you're not gonna cut all trees. Okay, but that becomes.
We're not allowed to. Town won't let us.
But that becomes, as they got bigger and bigger now,
Yep,
they're
yep.
35, 40 years old, they're
Yep.
bigger, the aerial truck gets in there and it's hitting things and we're bouncing all over the place, we can't get it up. This one, we didn't have a problem, we got the aerial in and there wasn't trees in our way. Other
Okay.
times, we've had significant trees. That's one. Hydrants that don't work, it's just lack of maintenance. And I'm not sure if that's the water company, you pay a fortune for water company needs. Okay, getting them to do it, or the association should be clearing 3 foot in every direction around the hydrant. They don't. Those shrubs have grown into them. So that's something minor, but it can be done. And then the maintenance of those, good luck with the water. They'll just charge you your $300 or $600 hydrant fees. But that's a whole other issue.
Because I saw a hydrant the other day that, like, the bolts that hold it to the pipe that comes out of the ground, they look like they were all rotted off. So it looks like you would take, a wrench, open that faucet up, and the whole thing's gonna just go over.
And if they're not, they're not regularly tested, which they should be. Whether that's the association or the water company, it could be a problem for us.
They do a regular flushing, but I don't know if that's the same thing. Okay.
Okay, thank you, Ron. Thank you,
Thank you,
everyone.
guys.
Once again, thank you for your response. And that goes to all the first responders, Bedminster PD as well. You don't have to leave. There's still a whole meeting left.
We'll hold you to that.
I love it.
We have one set of meeting minutes to approve. That's the April 1st, 2024 Township Committee meeting. Not one of our budget meetings. Any comments or questions regarding those minutes? Seeing none, take a motion to approve the minutes for April 1, 2024.
So,
So moved.
Oh, come on.
go ahead, Doug, you do the second.
I'm just kidding.
Second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
I'm abstaining from the minutes. I was not at the meeting.
We have 3 raffles to approve. An on-premise 50/50 raffle to benefit Special Olympics New Jersey on June 17, 2024 from 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. at Fiddler's Elbow Country Club. Next is an on-premise 50/50 raffle to benefit the State Troopers Fraternal Association of New Jersey Foundation. New Jersey Fraternal Association of New Jersey Foundation. On July 22, 2024 at 5 p.m. located at Trump National Golf Club. And then the last is an off-premise 50/50 raffle to benefit the Pottersville Volunteer Fire Company on December 14, 2024 at 8:00 p.m. at the Pottersville Volunteer Fire Company in Pottersville. Any questions, comments regarding those raffles? Seeing none, take a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank
Aye.
We have our monthly report discussions by Subcommittee Chair, Committeeman Stevenson. We'll start with you.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, everybody. Sorry I'm not there. So Kevin and his team continue to work on our fields, prepping them for the spring. We continue to work on the roads as it continues to rain and rain. I guess we're also working towards completing our quote for the roof, so that's good. And then we've got an update on the bathrooms for River Road. They're going to be delivered tomorrow, it sounds like, and the estimated time for having those up and running will be next week. So hopefully that'll run smoothly. And I believe that's all we've got. I've got historic preservation coming up, and I'll have a report on that next meeting.
Doug, I just want to briefly turn to Kevin Murray to talk about the pavilion that's being constructed over at River Road.
Sure. The pavilion is completed.
It is in, concrete's done, it's been backfilled, grass seed was put down.
I did not put my initials or my
Sure you did.
print into this wet cement, even though you suggested I do
I
that.
put Renee's in there. So that's complete. There was one punch ticket item, that I think Neil sent an email on, but besides that, it looks great. I think they did a wonderful job with it.
When are you bringing electricity to it?
Shooting for next week or the following.
Great.
It'll be done prior to, weather dependent, will be done prior. to,
Right.
Market.
Great, okay.
That's
Nice.
Thank you for that.
Gonna miss dragging that generator out every Saturday.
You still can.
And that's still a gap.
Can.
Okay, we won't turn it on. We'll just run it.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
It'll be out there.
It'll work
It'll be
out.
on, right.
It's not that bad.
Oh, yeah, you say that, sure.
I did it.
She
When
did.
it's hot. And
Well, that's.
She did.
she does, I know.
Committeeman Hickey.
Thank you. Good evening, all. Board of Health, we have a meeting this Thursday. And speaking of the farmer's market, they'll have a table at the farmer's market on Saturday, June 29th. They're going to have the following on hand. First off, they're going to have radon information and coupons for free test kits. They're also going to be handing out, excuse me, rabies information and what to do if a bat gets into your house. Having a daughter who just spent her last semester in an old New England house, I can emphatically state that an ounce of prevention is much, much cheaper than a pound of cure, particularly when insurance doesn't cover it. So that rabies information will be valuable. They'll also have emergency resources and emergency supply kit flyers, and finally, information on how to maintain your septic or well. So that will be on the 29th of June. And Mayor, that's all I have right now.
Great. Committeewoman Mareski.
Thank you, Mayor. Continuing with the farmer's market theme, the Environmental Commission will be taking advantage of the farmer's market on June 8th and having flyers for the well testing done by Raritan Headwaters. There'll be somebody there from EC most of the day. Also setting up at farmer's market, EC will have flyers about recycling, because apparently our recycling rules are a little complicated and not everybody is following them, and the county would like us to. So EC will bring out some information and put that out at the farmer's market. They're still working on having a raptor night. They would love to get the birds out here. We're just having a little bit of trouble because the birds really do need to be inside somewhere. And I don't think this room is appropriate. It's still a little too new. So they're working on perhaps Pingree or the Willow schools. So they're continuing to go down that road. And that's about it. I have a JBH meeting on Wednesday and I'll report back after that.
Great. Committeewoman Fernandez.
Thank you, Mayor. So I just wanted to recap on the Easter egg hunt that took place on Saturday, March 30th. And there were 22,750 eggs placed out in the field, and it was a lovely day. I was there, and the Easter Bunny was in attendance, and the Far Hills Bedminster Fire Department, the Bedminster Township DPW, and members of the Recreation Committee did a wonderful job helping set up the event. So I just wanted to recognize all of them. Also, a huge thanks to Team Welsh, Far Hills Pharmacy, Trump National Golf Club, Far Hills Bedminster Fire Department, and the Borough of Far Hills and the Township of Bedminster for sponsoring the events. It was a lovely town event. There's a medication management presentation that Josh O'Neill from the Somerset County Office on Aging and Disability Services will be holding on Thursday, September 19th at 12 noon at the Clarence Dillon Library. And it's available to adults over the age of 60, and there's no fee to attend. A lot of spring programs are taking place right now. We have soccer clinics taking place at Burt Mills Park, and the Lego Engineering and Coding After School program is held on Thursdays at Bedminster School. And camp is coming. Summer camp registration began on Monday, April 1st. Camp Bedminster has more participants registered at this time than they did last year at this time. And 7 of the afternoon camps are at maximum capacity already. And so that's awesome. And the facilities, 20 by 20 pavilion was installed at River Road. And 2 Clivis composting restrooms will be delivered tomorrow, Tuesday, April 16th. And that's all.
That's a lot.
That's a
Yeah,
lot. Yeah. Well, I wasn't at the April 1st meeting, so had to recap all of that.
So from my end, land use, we had a meeting last week. And we haven't had one of these in a while. It was actually an interpretation of a zoning ordinance regarding a potential application coming into the PPAC Gladstone Bank in Pottersville. And the question involved a potential bakery use, which is a permitted use in conjunction with other uses at that same building, including the residential on the second floor. The consensus of the land use board was that a bakery at that property would be consistent with the zoning ordinance. It was approved unanimously, and the expectation is that after some site plan issues are worked out, we may be seeing a site plan application for a bakery at the PPAC Gladstone building, right at the corner of Black River in Pottersville and Hackle Barney Road. So that'd be very exciting for Pottersville.
And maybe they'll want to go to the farmer's market.
I believe I got a note during the presentation from Committeeman Steve, Committeeman Hitch. Sorry for that, saying
Farmers market.
so we'll certainly see. And the other application was a C variance for expansion of a residence, which was also unanimously approved. Do have a library board meeting coming up tomorrow, and we did have this is really a subcommittee, but we did have a meeting with the Somerset Hills Public Safety Committee. And so that was the mayors of the surrounding towns and several of the police chiefs. And we talked about where we all are on the adoption of the I call the break-in ordinance or to stop the car thefts. And we talked about some other elements that are also going out there, or certainly other public safety issues to consider. Once again, the installation of the license plate readers and cameras at critical roads leading into all the Somerset Hills, what the other towns are working on, and also some legislation that is down in Trenton that may help police in their efforts to combat some of these criminal activities that we've been reading about. And maybe a little bit later on, we get to Chief, if you don't mind giving a little update on some of the issues that you've been looking at when we get to the community policing report. And that's what I have from my end. Ms. Ray, may we please have the the administrator's report.
Sure. So since our last meeting, Bedminster Township experienced a 4.8 earthquake and several aftershocks and a lunar eclipse, as well as that damaging fire in the hills. It was so with regard to the earthquake, I just wanted to mention that Kevin Murray was all over it. He immediately was out inspecting all of our buildings, did a fantastic job. He conducted a very thorough investigation of all of our facilities, and he documented all the damages, reported everything to the insurance company right away. And actually, he met with the appraiser today to assess all of our damages. So I just wanted to say thank you to Kevin, because he really he jumped right on it.
We saw that assessment literally within hours.
Yeah.
From the first incident. You're out there, you showed us pictures of your inspection, and you really were right on top of it.
And the same is true for Rodney. Thank you for being here tonight so you could hear this, but Rodney, backed that right up. They went out, they inspected the sewer plant because that's a major infrastructure for Bedminster Township. Rodney immediately reached out to the sewer utility committee as well as the sewer transmission advisory board in the neighboring town. So just wanted to say thank you to both of them for staying on top of it and keeping us safe. So we spent the last week wrapping up our last budget meeting, and then Debbie and I worked on this user-friendly budget, which is you all each have a copy, which is just another way to look at the budget. It's supposed to be for the average resident to be able to take a look and see where the bulk of the municipality's expenses are. Personally, I don't find it very easy to read.
Yeah, this is the user-friendly budget.
Yes, it's just a different way of looking at the information rather than putting it in one pocket. It splits things up into 5 different pockets, and it really is quite confusing. So I just want to make sure that this will be posted on our website tomorrow for everybody to look at. And we have the actual budget for consideration this evening, which we will be discussing after 7 meetings. That was a lot of work by the Township Committee and all the department heads, so I want to thank everybody. As a result of the fire, we took a look at our information again of the Hills contacts, so I'm in the process of working with all the HOA presidents. I'm almost done, 2 more neighborhoods, and we're completely finished with updating our list to make sure we have every piece of detail. We have several lists in the municipalities, just merging everything together. And this will be a live document that we update quarterly with the different HOAs and the property managers, since there's so many changes on a regular basis. Also, the HPC has been working on a grant with our municipal planner, Frank Banish. That's actually, we'll be submitting that this Thursday, April 18th. It's a New Jersey Historic Trust Municipal, County, and Regional Planning Grant, which allows local municipal historic preservation committees and commissions to be able to update their ordinances, their local ordinances. So this is a grant to help us get a planner to help us update our ordinances. So that's due on Thursday. And just one other update. We both Far Hills Bedminster Fire and Pottersville Volunteer Fire applied for the Appreciation for Firefighters grant. And as of today, the grants are now, if you made it through the first pass and you go on to the second stage, which is actual panel review. I did reach out to our FEMA coordinator. He's checking to see where we are in the process. If our 2 companies have made it to the next, so hopefully I have some good news after the next meeting. There was over 6,000 companies applied for the grant, 6,000 applicants federally, which is a big number. Over $3 billion worth of funding was requested, so we'll see what happens. Very competitive grant, and that concludes my report.
So fire, earthquake, floods,
Lunar eclipse.
budget,
Lunar eclipse.
budget,
So
and more budget meetings. So Robin, it's funny with all the talk about the fire and certainly the flood issues that Robin's been dealing with. The earthquake, which I believe that last tremor was centered in Bedminster, right off of Long Lane by Black River Road. So yeah, here we are, and when you're hearing about the epicenter, they're talking about 5 miles northwest of White House, 3 miles southwest of Gladstone. And you're like, wait a second, that's us. That's right here. Oh my goodness. So yeah, it is funny how, just a week later, it's like, oh yeah. Yeah, the earthquake. By the way, and we had so much going on. And Robin, you talked about the 7 budget meetings. I've been on Township Committee for 12 years, and we've never gone to 7 budget meetings. So this is
Capital
really,
budget Z.
or capital budget. Z. We were at capital budget Y until that last meeting, and then we went to capital budget Z. But thank you, Robin, and to all the directors from staff and from our volunteer organizations who showed up to talk about their needs, talk about prioritization. And Robin, thanks again to you for hearing the Township Committee, taking our comments back, coming back again and again with different iterations of the capital budget, the operating budget, working with our auditors and our CFO to bring us to the point where we are. And when we're ready to introduce, we'll do summary of it, but certainly we know how much work went into this. So thank you for all your effort there.
Thank you.
Chief Bernardo. Community policing and any other updates you have for us?
Yes, Mayor, the police youth week, registration is open. It's gonna be an afternoon, choice for the summer camps. That's gonna be July 22nd through the 26th, from 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. each day for grades 6 through 8. We can have up to 20 participants. There is a fee, and we're hoping that people take advantage of it. It should be fun. And also,
Who's gonna be running that?
probably Officer Smith, Del Cole, a couple other folks sprinkled in.
That's a good mix right there.
They're the lead officers. They have a relationship with the kids, so.
That's great.
Easier. For them to, they already have like a report, but we'll all get involved. It's usually, what we used to do when I started, it was a lot of fun. Even for the police. Hopefully tomorrow or the next day, we're gonna be publishing on our website, the home security self-assessment tool that the mayor and I are pushing out. Basically, anybody, a resident or anybody can do a self-assessment of their security at their house. And it has best practices and tips, and it's user-friendly. And basically, it provides a tool to see where you're at, and you can plan and provide like a meeting schedule to get to where you want to be to have a more secure setting at your home. So that should be coming out hopefully tomorrow.
Yeah, that's great. I think this is tremendous. We know that certainly some other local agencies have implemented this with great response from the residents. Get Bedminster Police to come out to assess your home. Make recommendations, suggestions as to what you can do to make sure that you are in good shape. And I think this is a great opportunity, once again, bringing Bedminster Police out into the community, helping our residents make these assessments. Chief, I think that's a great idea. Just love it.
And we're also working on some programs to assist our most vulnerable residents that usually are confined to their homes due to medical issues or ones that don't have friends or family close by. We're working on some programs catered specifically for them. So more to come in the next few weeks, just finalizing some details.
That's great. Thank you, Chief Bernardo. We have two ordinances to introduce tonight. First is ordinance 2024-002, which amends chapter 13 entitled Land Development. And this would change the section 13502 on stormwater management. And if approved, the public hearing will be scheduled for May 6, 2024. And the second ordinance that we may consider for introduction is ordinance 2024-003, an ordinance to exceed the municipal budget appropriations limit and to establish a cap bank if so needed. And once again, if this ordinance is introduced tonight, the public hearing would be scheduled for May 6. Ms. Ray, want to just quickly discuss the stormwater management ordinance?
Sure. So, as you know, January 1st of 2023, the new rules went into effect for stormwater management. And this ordinance is a direct result of those changes. It just brings us current in our land use rules for land management. There isn't one thing that jumps out at me. It's the whole thing. It's a very big ordinance.
Yes.
And completely replaces our existing section. There'll be more to come over the next month or so as well. That's good to this.
I did have a quick discussion with Paul Ferraro this afternoon, asking if there were any more state mandates coming out of the stormwater permitting. And he said, no, he said, once this ordinance is adopted, he thinks we'll comply with that, all the other requirements that the state or DEP has. If there's no further questions or comments, take a motion to introduce ordinance 2024-002.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call vote, please. Mr. Stevenson,
Aye.
Mr. Hickey,
Aye.
Ms. Moreski,
Aye.
Ms. Fernandez,
Aye.
and Mayor Jacobs.
Aye.
Thank you.
The public hearing for ordinance 2024-002 will be scheduled for May 6th. And then the tap bank ordinance. Robin, you just want to once again walk us through this?
Sure. The local government finance laws allow us to municipality that we can't increase our said budget by 2.5%. Unless we have cap bank, which we have established each year. We can use cap bank up for the last 3 years, I believe it is. This year, we actually do need to have a 1% increase in the budget for the said year, which is about $88,000, which is in excess of our 2.5% cap. So we are using a portion of our cap bank from the prior year to be able to present the budget for this year.
Any further questions regarding the introduction of the ordinance? Seeing none, take a motion to approve or introduce ordinance 2024-003.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call vote, please. Mr. Stevenson,
Aye.
Mr. Hickey,
Aye.
Ms. Moreski,
Aye.
Ms. Fernandez,
Aye.
and Mayor Jacobs.
Aye.
Thank you.
And the public hearing for ordinance 2024-003 will be May 6th, 7 o'clock in these chambers. We have no public hearing for ordinances. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 resolutions on the consent agenda. Does any member of the Township Committee want to pull any of those items off for individual consideration? Seeing none, I'll take a motion to approve the items on the consent agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call vote again, please. Mr. Stevenson,
Aye.
Mr. Hickey,
Aye.
Ms. Moreski,
Aye.
Ms. Fernandez,
Aye.
and Mayor Jacobs.
Aye.
Thank you.
The one resolution that is up for consideration is resolution 2024-057, which is the introduction of the 2024 municipal budget. And the public hearing for the budget will be on May 20, 2024. Robin, is this the resolution that we have to read into record?
No, it's not.
Oh, good.
This is, this budget will actually, this is just the advertisement for the budget that's gonna go in the newspaper, which is what you have, which is a summary of the changes from this year over last year.
Okay. So with that, can we have someone move resolution 2024-057, the introduction of the 2024 municipal budget?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call vote, please. Mr. Stevenson,
Aye.
Mr. Hickey,
Aye.
Ms. Moreski,
Aye.
Ms. Fernandez,
Aye.
and Mayor Jacobs.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you. And we have a motion to approve the bill list pending review of individual invoices.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call vote, please. Mr. Stevenson,
Aye.
Mr. Hickey,
Aye.
Ms. Moreski,
Aye.
Ms. Fernandez,
Aye.
and Mayor Jacobs.
Aye.
Thank you.
So we do have a matter that I put up for new business. I received a request from Senator Steinhardt asking for support in the form of a municipal resolution for Senate Bill 725, which would criminalize the unlawful occupancy of a dwelling, also known as squatting. Certainly, we've heard about squatting incidents in the news. And when I first got this, I flipped it over to Chief Bernardo and to John Bellardo, our town attorney, for their thoughts. I think everyone knows that, as a general rule, not necessarily in favor of symbolic resolutions, because I don't really think they do anything. But it was interesting. The issue of squatting is not something that happens elsewhere. We've had squatting situations in Bedminster. And so I thought that it was certainly something worthwhile to discuss. I know that there's been at least one incident. The details we probably cannot go into, but I did ask the chief to briefly talk about it in general. The issues in dealing with squatters and the impacts they can have on both Bedminster PD and certainly time constraints and dedication of resources, as well as what it can do to communities. So I'll turn it over to Chief Bernardo.
Excuse me, just 1 second. Just to point out to you, it's in your new business, in your correspondence section. It should be the second item of correspondence, and I did prepare a resolution for the next meeting if you're so inclined to move forward.
And by the way, I did also send that same, since we are in Senator Steinhardt's legislative district, but many of the other towns in Somerset Hills Public Safety are not. So I'm not sure that they would have received that same request from Senator Steinhardt, but I did forward it to everyone on the Somerset Hills Public Safety Committee. So back to you, Chief.
Sorry.
Oh, yeah, no problem. Yeah, in my career, I've dealt with this issue at least twice that I could recall. And it's very frustrating because from the property owner's perspective, they don't understand that there's really no laws and there's no enforcement that we can help them with. And it's very frustrating as a police officer to tell somebody, you know, sir or ma'am, I really feel for you, but I can't help you. And we have to refer them to hire an attorney and go to civil court. And it's extremely frustrating to watch it and to deal with it. And the two incidents is that we had were an extreme time restraint for my officers. And basically, we just went there to keep the peace. It could happen again. It happens more often than you would think. It really doesn't end up in the paper a lot of times. But this is a serious issue that I hope that loophole gets closed through legislation. Because like I said, as an officer, to tell somebody, I'm sorry, I can't help you, is the worst thing that for us. And it's very frustrating for the property owners and for us. And it's a huge expense for the property owner. It could be lost, you know, rental income. They can't sell the house, can't move in the house. It's a really terrible situation. And just to watch it happen for over a year in one particular case was very frustrating, and it was sad.
So, Chief, have you looked through the legislation that Steinhardt is supporting?
I did not.
So maybe you and John Bellardo, maybe with Committeeman Stevenson, can get together, go through that, and come back maybe at the next meeting with recommendations to proceed. John, did you get a chance to look at that legislation?
I have not yet had a chance to look at that, Mayor, but I will.
Okay, so let's. Oh, go ahead, John.
No, it was just me. I was saying the same for me. I haven't seen it, but I will, and I'll circle back with Chief and Mr. Bellardo.
Okay, so let's get that for the next meeting. You guys can coordinate. Doug, I'll leave it to you and the chief to coordinate with John, and then make some recommendations back to the TC. And also, all the TC members have a copy of that as well, so you can make your own decisions. But I think it'd be good, certainly, to hear from both John Bellardo and the chief, who have dealt with this issue personally. Okay, so we'll come back to this next meeting. Old business, DOT improvements. Chief, we did get a response from Meredith
Yes.
after her group said, yeah, we can change the timing. And then Meredith came back and said, do you want us to change the timing? But yes, so
It's progress.
it's progress. It's progress. So
Pathetic.
So DOT, we're on it. Between the chief and I, we're on it. And we'll continue and direct Meredith to the fact that DOT staff already suggested the timing change. So we'll keep pushing on that. Utilities. Speaking of earthquake, can we blame it on JCP&L?
No, but towards that end, I did reach out to the utilities after the earthquake, and none of them reported any damage, at least immediately resulting from the earthquake. So good news again here in Bedminster.
Good.
I do have a couple of updates. First off on Altice, I continue to pursue the issue of existing Optimum customers who are unable to order the new fiber service online. So they built it, but unfortunately the customers can't come. That applies to the 4 developments in Hills Village North, where the construction has already been completed. The good news is Altice is going to set up a special concierge line to assist Bedminster residents with ordering. So the agents will be knowledgeable on the Bedminster bill and the new pricing schedule, which, by the way, in general is about 30% cheaper than the existing hybrid fiber coax service. So that's good news for our residents.
Wait, so the fiber,
Yes,
the high-speed fiber
is cheaper.
is cheaper.
Correct. So that was a rate schedule they published on January 7th of this year. I'm sure in part is to encourage customers to migrate towards a service that's easier to maintain, manage, et cetera, and provides better service and better reliability. So it's a win-win all around. They also requested a public space where they could set up an information desk to answer questions, help customers who are interested in making the upgrade. So I've been working with the Master Association up there. We thought the clubhouse, the Hills Village North, and they thought the clubhouse would be a great place to do it.
And
they're going to
Farmers market.
we could, but remember, this is something that we want to do
I know.
sooner rather than later, and it's for a specific set of customers, meaning it's the folks in Hills Village North right now. So if we can get those folks up there, get them the information, answer the questions they need, then they can.
If we do it at the farmer's market, we'll have all the folks from Basking Ridge
asking
Yeah.
about, right,
when
Getting mad.
they're getting it.
Yes, that's true. So we will coordinate and get that done. Just a quick update on New Jersey American Water. We're working on an issue where customers in the hills are calling New Jersey American Water, asking to turn off their water service because they're moving, or they have an emergency, and New Jersey American Water is saying, sorry, not us, call the town. So, yes.
It's an ongoing issue for the past.
And do
12 years
do
that
those
I'm-
calls get directed to you, Kevin?
Yeah, and I'm like, oh, no, you gotta call the water company, and when they tell you it's the town, tell them, no, it's not the town.
Right. Obviously, the agent has a script, is reading from a script. Oh, Bedminster. Oh, no, don't call
No.
us. So Robin has heard this. I've gotten the calls. We had somebody who had a flooding kitchen a couple of months ago. Oh, yeah, they're just telling me to call you guys. I'm like, no. For water turnoff, you have to go right to New Jersey American Water. We need to work this issue. So they've got to update their scripts. They've got to update their process internally. We'll get on it and see what we can figure out.
But they do come to our neighborhood, dig out where the dirt has covered over the little holes or the caps where you turn the water off from. They dye it in blue, so they know those are
Oh,
there and that they belong to them. Why would they tell?
That's a
Call
field.
center.
Yeah, exactly. It's a field
Oh,
group.
gotcha.
Yeah, the call center has a script. They follow the script. Call comes in. This is what I say. It's what it is. So that script needs to be updated. Call comes in from an NPA, excuse me, a number that's Bedminster. Here's where it goes. And Mayor, that's all I've got.
Kevin, real quick, any update on PSE&G and Old Stonehouse?
No, radio silence as per the last conversation I had with Brian Wild. So I reached out to my rests because I'm also radio silence for the gas line from the generator. And not a lot of headway.
So the paving of Old Stonehouse is waiting on
Correct.
the gas line installation.
Yes, Mayor.
So we're all waiting on PSE&G at this point.
Yes.
Okay.
Seems like an underlying issue, very similar with Fowler Road when they ran the gas line. Brad Fagan, he back in Gladstone Public Works, he mirrored what we did for payment in lieu of paving for the water company and for the gas to keep everything in house. So one town would be doing the paving for that section from Holland to where it transfers to dirt. Feedback was spearheading that. Yes, payment in lieu of paving, we'll do it gladly. American Water made good on their side of the road. PSE&G radio silence.
Okay.
So.
Okay.
It's an underlying issue with them, unfortunately.
Pluckman Park Housing, we're gonna leave that with Committeeman Stevenson and Attorney Bellardo. I've already reported on the Somerset Hills Public Safety Committee. We do have an executive session. It should be brief. We will go through Township Committee comments, adjourn to executive session, and then come back to public session for final goodbyes. Township Committee comments, we'll start with Committeeman Stevenson.
Thank you, Mayor. My comments this evening are directed to Kevin Murray. Kevin, you were all over the earthquake, and first off, my apologies for not addressing this during my update on DPW. Of course, I get caught up in everything that you and your team are doing, and I forget to recognize the man at the steering wheel. You had the report circulated immediately, and it was one of those things like, okay, this is under control. It never even sort of made it to the frontal lobe, if you will, of my mind of that we have an issue here, because you were all over it. So my apologies for you being a victim of your own successes. But well done. You continue to ring the bell. And I have to say, whether it's an weekend day or some godforsaken hour of the night, you're always responsive, and you're always there to address issues and to foresee things. And I just want to let you know that, yes, I report on everything you do and the DPW folks and your team are doing, but it's not mistaken for 1 second that you're the leader behind it all, and you've got us rowing in the right direction here. So thank you for everything you do. That's all I've got. Thank you.
Thanks, sir.
By the way, Kevin is also a volunteer firefighter, right? In 2 towns or just 1? 2 towns. So not just here, not just here in Far Hills with Far Hills Bedminster, but also with.
And he's also a youth athletic coach.
Yes.
And a dad.
But I will say kudos
Girl.
to 2 other public works staff who were, the 3 of us were staying at the firehouse Friday after work, the day we had the fire, to do a check-in on the rig. So that's a big part of why we got out so fast. So kudos to them for, not living in town, but, also putting in the time. So we appreciate all your support, but they do give a lot back too. So
Great.
Kudos to those guys.
Thank you. Committeeman Hickey.
Thank you, Mayor. Well, first off, our volunteers are amazing, as we've seen tonight, we've heard tonight. So thank you to all of them once again. And also just to echo the mayor's comments, Robin, the 10 folks who are in here, they know it because they watch it as we do the budget meetings, but we ask you all kinds of obscure questions, data points, analysis. You're getting hit from every direction. It's amazing that you have it either in the box at the snap of your fingers, or you run back to your office and you find it and figure it out, but it helps inform the discussion. It gets us to the right place. Thank you for your diligence. Thank you for your efforts. Thank you just being for so comprehensive so we can deliver for the Bedminster residents year in and year out. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Mayor, that's all I have. Thank
Appreciate
you.
that.
Thank you. Committeewoman Moreski.
Thank you, Mayor. So thank you goes out to all our first responders, our firefighters, our first aid responders, our DPW, our sewer authority. You guys are amazing. And it's always appreciated by our residents, even if they don't even know what's going on behind the scenes, because you guys are so good and so fast. Thank you as always. And Robin, thank you so much for putting up with the 5 of us for budget. We ask you lots of questions, as Colin said, but we are just doing what we were elected here to do, is take care of our residents and take care of their pennies. And boy, those pennies crying this year. But I think we all did a pretty good job. And I just want to say I'm so proud to work with this township committee and everybody here who participated in the budget process. I think we did a good job. Great. And have a good night.
Thank you. Committeewoman Fernandez.
I'm going last again, so everyone has said everything, but yeah, just, to all of our first responders, you really are just heroes in our community, and just like a genuine thank you from not only a township committee member, but also a resident in our town. And Robin, yeah, there's no words to describe like how amazing you are. So just thank you for all your hard work and keep doing what you do.
Thanks, Gina.
Thank you.
Appreciate that.
I know, from tonight, it was just really that 10 minute from the first dispatch to actually putting water on the fire.
That's
mean,
crazy.
I recommend, to all the TC members, go up to encampment and you'll see that it is it's the middle of encampment. The fire was on the rear of the building, facing the woods. Encampment is narrow, you've got cars parked on it, and the fact that they were able to manage that situation. Kevin, you're the only firefighter here remaining, but it was just obviously that there was a hell of a lot of management and skill
Absolutely.
in that response. And once again, talking to the neighbors, one of whom was in the building, and the others were from adjacent buildings or from from Parkside, and they were all talking about what a great response, how quick they were, and how professional. So thank you to all you guys. So let's put fires and floods and earthquakes, eclipse, protests in the streets. I don't know what else. Just like put that behind us. Smooth moving for the rest of 2024.
The cicadas are coming. by the way.
Yeah, the cicadas are coming. And with that, I'll take a motion to adjourn to executive session, and it's 8:17.
So moved.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you. We'll be coming back to public session for final adjournment for the minutes.
Are we gonna go back in?
No, we can stay here.
Okay.
Thank you, guys.
Thank
Thank you
you.
so much.
Good night, Rodney.
Two quick
Good
questions.
night,
Two.
everybody.
Okay.
Sure, Rodney, you look good, man.
We're still recording, Robin?
I remember.
Yes, I will stop it just a minute. Thank you. Thanks for the reminder.
No. It is 8:28 and the Township Committee has returned from our executive session. We have no further business to conduct this evening. Take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
That was a second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you and good night.
Thank you, everybody.
Good night.
Bye.
Good night.
Robin, I'll be down in the morning.
Thank you,
Yeah,
Doug.
I'll stop over tomorrow, Robin.
Oh, you know what? I had Renee sign yours because we had one that was timely.
Okay, perfect.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay.